Welcome back. You're tuning to Buy Now, Sell Now, and it is now that time of the show where we get all your stock-specific queries answered by our experts. Let me get on board Himaden Kaparia, who's a technical associate DR Choksi Finserv, who's joining us on the technicals, and for a fundamental view, Avinash Gorakshakar is a market expert is joining us. Hi Avinash and Himaden, thank you so much for joining us to answer all our stock-specific questions. And we also have a caller who's now joined in, Vijay Kirti, who's from Chennai, is now joining us. Hi, good morning Vijay Kirti. Tell us what's your question.
Yeah, this is regarding the REC stocks I hold because it is now under the severe erosion. And I am just asking whether we can switch from REC to Power Finance Corporation because the merger is announced, which will be beneficial. Just to keep with the REC or merge with the PFC or switch to the PFC or totally book the loss and invest in something else. These are all the options I have.
Right, interesting. Right, Vijay Kirti. Thank you so much for your question. Avinash, let me come to you. Now with the REC and PFC merger announced, he wants to know, he has REC that he's bought at a buying price of 607. He's clearly sitting at a loss. Should he now probably just, book his loss, get out, or perhaps switch to PFC, which would be a better bet post the merger? What should he do?
No, I think as of now, the merger has been announced. I would suggest that, rather than switching to PFC, which is at a lower level, I think it's better that he holds on till the entire merger is culminated because obviously, the merger is going to benefit both REC as well as PFC shareholders. I think in the short term, the market has reacted negatively to REC. And I think markets are now looking at a more favorable structure for PFC. But I think the merger ratio has not yet been announced. And I think, it's better that, little more clarity comes. So probably in the next 2 to 3 months by March quarter, you will get to know this. And I think that time would be an ideal time to take a call. But I think he can continue to hold to REC because obviously shareholders of REC are going to be offered new shares in the consolidated entity. So rather than panicking, I think wait for some time. The fourth quarter is also going to be equally good. And that would be a good time to evaluate. Till that time, it's better that he holds on.
All right, Mr. Vijay Kirti, is there anything else you want to ask our experts?
Thank you. That's it.
All right. Thank you so much for asking your question. Let's move on. And we have a WhatsApp query coming in from Sushila Bileri. And she says that she has Adani Power at 153. She wants to know what would be the targets for long term. Avinash, I'll come to you for that. What's going to be your take looking at her buying price?
So I think, Kavita, in this case, I think most power companies are long gestation kind of, players. Adani Power has recently decided that not only in India, but even countries like Bangladesh, they would be putting up power projects. So my sense is that, rather than taking a short-term call, if the investor can wait for the next 12 to 18 months, I think definitely Adani Power is one of those players which is very aggressive in adding capacity, has got a very good funding structure. So I think continue to hold. I think, one could look at targets of 175, 180 year, but over a period of 12 to 15 months.
The entire capital market space, Avinash.
No, Kavita, I think in the short term, this is definitely going to impact the broking companies. But I think this regulatory announcement by RBI is going to largely affect the proprietary books of many, participants. It's not going to impact any other segment that badly. And most importantly, you must understand that Indian capital market is a kind of a market which is growing rapidly. So maybe in the short term, there could be a jerk maybe for a quarter. But I think over the longer term, companies like BSE, the asset management companies, wealth management companies, the depositories, these are all big opportunities where a lot of wealth can be made. So BSE actually would be in the limelight because very soon NSE would be making its IPO and NSE share would get listed on the Bombay Stock Exchange. So my sense is that, if somebody has a time frame of at least 1 to 2 years, I think any weakness should be used to accumulate these stocks because the long runway for growth is very promising. And I think good money can be made even from current levels.
From Hyderabad, and she says that she's a senior citizen, have bought 5,000 shares of Gujarat Gas, and she wants to understand the future prospects of the company and till what time she should be holding. Currently, she's not in need of any money, so it's more like an investment perspective. Avinash, I'll come to you. Any specific take?
No, I think Gujarat Gas, if the investor can hold on for the next 12 to 18 months, I think they are into the, gas business, both for the industrial users as well as for the residential users. And they largely operate in the Gujarat market. The company has a large dominant shareholding by its collaborator British Gas. And I think, in terms of the numbers, in terms of the growth opportunity, I think gas production is increasing steadily. The government also wants to encourage clean energy, and to that extent, Gujarat Gas is very well positioned. So I think if the investor can hang on for the next 12 to 18 months, it's a good risk reward bet, and I think the investor should hold on. If the investor does not require funding immediately, we expect better numbers for FY27, and definitely the investor can hold on.
This is Mr. Chakravarti, and he wants to know about Renuka Sugars. He bought it at 24.67, 400 shares. He wants to know if he can buy more on dips and then hold it. Avinash?
No, I think Kavita, as far as Renuka Sugars is concerned, currently sugar prices continue to be weak. In fact, even on the ethanol side, we have been finding that most of the producers have been saying that ethanol prices have not been raised of late by the government. I think overall the longer term opportunity looks good. I think Renuka Sugar has a very large sugar and ethanol capacity. So if he's looking at the next 12 to 18 months, he can definitely accumulate at these levels. Most of the negatives are in the price. But I think for the stock to get re-rated, you'll have to wait for a couple of quarters of good numbers put out by the company. So yes, he can add, but he's got to take a time frame of at least 12 to 18 months.
Question is from Vishakhapatnam, and Mr. Satyaveni is asking about TCS and Infosys. So he's holding TCS 160 quantity at 3849 and Infosys at 1704, 123 quantity. He wants to know if he can average it and reduce losses, and maybe if he wants, if the recommendation is to hold on to both of these counters, what should be the target? So let's understand a technical as well as a fundamental view. So Avinash, I'll start with you. How are you looking at these major IT companies, especially after all the round of volatility that we are witnessing?
I think, Kavita, clearly from a longer term perspective, Indian IT companies would definitely have to redefine their objectives and would definitely have to look at AI as a new strategic tool. In fact, yesterday, you must be aware, Infosys announced a new tie-up with Anthropic. And TCS has also said that AI will now figure a large percentage of its revenue. My sense is that these businesses are going to gradually get ramped up, and I think Indian companies are ideally positioned. The kind of fall we saw in these companies was because of a scare that a lot of business would go away from these companies. This is not so. My sense is if you have a 12 to 18 month view, I think things will definitely start gradually. In fact, in TCS, I would not be surprised that looking at the current level, the management could even think of a buyback because they are sitting on a huge amount of cash, which again could be used, profitability for the shareholder. So I think the investor should add both Infosys as well as TCS. My sense is it may take a little bit of time, but the next 12 to 18 months, definitely the risk reward could get better.
Mr. Balan, he's a senior citizen, and once again, IT stocks, I think that's on radar for all our viewers as well. ITCS, Infosys, LTI, Mindtree, and Birlasoft. He has all of these stocks in his portfolio, and which ones he should be selling, and he also plans to switch to FMCG instead of IT now, HUL or Nestle, or banks maybe, which is SBI and HDFC is what is his preference. So he just wants you to strategize his particular move. I'm not sure for what time frame he's looking at being in IT, but just in case if it's an exit strategy that you both might want to recommend, what should be the next sector on radar? I'll start with Avinash.
I think I would prefer the banking pack. I think both from the private as well as the PSU side. I think from the private banking side, you look at companies like ICICI Bank, and from the public sector side, I think companies like Bank of Baroda, a Canara Bank, or a SBI. These are stocks which I think would now attract a lot of traction, considering that the fourth quarter is expected to be quite good. And as far as the FMCG pack is concerned, Kavita, I think he could look at stocks like Dabur, Marico, Godrej Consumer. I think definitely the tailwind is positive. We are seeing good commentaries coming from the companies in this sector, and the fourth quarter should be reasonably good. So I think FMCG sector is also something which you should look at. I think this could be a good defensive bet, banking and FMCG.
He has two questions. One is on L&T. He is holding it from a buying price of 3,224. He wants to know what would be the target for the next 1 to 3 years for L&T. And the second part is the interesting one. He wants to invest 15 lakh rupees in semiconductor, data centers, defense and alternative energy stocks for investment. What would be the recommendation? Now, Avinash, I'll come to you for this one. Firstly, we'll talk about L&T for your 1 to 3 years of perspective. And then, are there any recommendations? He has 15 lakhs to invest in stocks that are semiconductor facing or data centers or the defense names that you would like to recommend?
No, I think first of all, as far as L&T is concerned, I think he's got in at a very attractive level. I think she should sit into the seat and not sell any share, because according to us, I think L&T is going to be a structurally very big opportunity in terms of defense, capital goods, infrastructure. At least on a very near-term basis, we could see levels of 4450, 4500 over the next 12 to 15 months. The order book is good. The working capital management has also improved. So I think you could expect a very strong Q4 number also. And plus the outlook for FY27 looks good. As far as data center stocks are concerned, there are companies like Anantraj, which have been beaten down very badly, currently trade around 540, 546. I think that could be a good bet, to bet on the AI kind of approach, which is now being looked at every company, because data center is the basic requirement for any AI provider. So I think in this space, Anantraj looks pretty good. And on the defense side, I think we should look at stocks like Bharat Electronics, typically a Hindustan Aeronautics, or even, shipping companies like Garden Reach. Typically, I think all these companies have got a very strong order book and would give a good traction over the next, say, 12 to 18 months.
So that's the recommendation coming in from Avinash. And with that, it's a wrap also on the show. Thank you so much, Avinash and Hemen, for taking your time out and helping our viewers today.